What is going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. Hope you're all doing very well. We're talking about Feral Druid today, and we're going to go through the rotations. Yeah, this is going to be a bit more of an analytical video, just looking at the dummies. I don't even have any dungeon footage for you here because we're just going to go over the rotations and the talents and why you're going to do certain things that you do. What I want to help to solve for some of you is to help you get past maybe the intimidation of getting into Feral Druid. This is not by any means an expert breakdown on how to play Feral Druid. I understand how to play it. I'm decent at it, but I'm no like super expert. This is not my main. But for those of you who are interested in playing the kitty, I want you to understand some of the basics of what's going on in the talent tree, what synergies exist, and why we're casting the spells that we're casting. And then I want you to understand the rotation as well. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. First and foremost, you can set up your talents however you want. And a really quick note that next week, this talent tree is going to look different than it does right now. It's going to look dramatically different. Like all the Berserk buffs, for example, are going into the middle of the tree. Once 10.0.5 drops, it's going to look a lot different. So I will do another video on the talent trees and how they're changing. Today is just about rotations. One ability that you're going to basically need to take is Brutal Slash, and it replaces Swipe over here. Okay, so Swipe does like 2,000 damage to everybody in front of you, and this thing does like 7,000 damage. So this is a really important distinction that we need to make right off the bat, is that you really should be running Brutal Slash. You could run Wild Slashes if you want to, but I think if you're going to be realistic about all this, if you want to do lots of damage in Mythic Plus, and this is a rotation on AoE, by the way. This is just your AoE rotation. But if you're in a dungeon in Mythic Plus, taking Brutal Slash will give you an increased single target damage on boss fights as well. It ends up doing 7,000 damage. My Shred doesn't even do that much damage, and that's my single target ability. Now, Shred has other synergies that makes it do more damage, but just keep in mind, Brutal Slash is huge. It does a lot of AoE damage, and it does a lot of single target damage, and you're going to need to get used to playing with it. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means you don't have a spammable AoE ability anymore. So when you run up here and you're doing your AoE rotation, you're going to have to add in some other spells, like Shred and in particular Rake, and you're going to kind of fill with Thrash. So really quickly, you can see if I just go Brutal Slash, Brutal Slash, Brutal Slash, and then do a finisher, I can't press Brutal Slash anymore. So I'm going to go Thrash, and I'm going to press Rake and spread my Rakes around, and then I'm going to do my Primal. Then I have a Brutal Slash up. I'm going to press Brutal Slash into a Thrash. I got a free proc. Brutal Slash is back, so I'm going to press it. Now I don't have Brutal Slash, so I need to fill with Rake, fill with Thrash, fill with other abilities, okay? So just keep that in mind, that you do not have a spammable AoE ability anymore, okay? So it's similar to some other classes like Enhancement Shaman, which presses Crash Lightning and then presses their single target abilities, and they're splashing AoE damage with their single target abilities. But this is a bit different. It's basically just that Brutal Slash does so much more damage than Swipe does that it's ideal that you take it. It just means in AoE situations, your rotation will change a little bit. You're not just going to be able to spam an AoE ability. Okay, just keep that in mind. That's the first thing I want to get out of the way. Okay? Number 2, we're going to talk about Convoke versus Incarn. So this is Convoke, Avatar of Ashmain versus... Incarn, Avatar of Ashmain versus Convoke. Convoke is actually pretty good. Now, the talent tree that I have set up here takes this big node right here and takes the buff to it. If you don't know, Convoke is an ability that allows you to channel a bunch of spells, and it's going to do a whole bunch of work for you. So you run up here and you just press Convoke, like this. It's going to build combo points. It's going to use finishers for me. It's going to do a whole bunch of stuff. Look what it just did. It just did 30k DPS on its own. So it cast Feral Frenzy twice. It cast Rake a bunch of times. It cast Ferocious Bite 3 times. It cast Thrash, Moonfire. It did a lot of stuff, okay? So Convoke is this all-encompassing ability that will cast all of your Druid spells. Now, if you're outside of melee range, it will actually cast other Druid spells. So be careful that you're in melee range when you're using Convoke. Convoke in this build is just something you're just going to use off the GCD. Make sure you're casting Convoke as soon as it comes off cooldown, because it's only a 1-minute cooldown, because we're taking the Ashmain's Guidance at the bottom. It makes Convoke, it reduces the cooldown of it by 1 minute, makes it cast your better spells. So make sure you're casting Convoke all the time. The reason Convoke is actually really good is because of a bunch of synergies it has with talents. So your Convoke the Spirits will cast Ferocious Bite, which is one of your main finishers, okay? The reason that's good is because we have Rampant Ferocity. So if your Convoke casts a Ferocious Bite, it will cleave because of Rampant Ferocity, which is really, really good, okay? It'll also counts as a finishing move towards Soul of the Forest. So you'll get a whole bunch of energy back per combo point spent. So watch this. I'm going to dump a bunch of energy. Here we go. I'm going to dump energy. Look at my energy. I'm dumping. Let's keep dumping. Okay. Now we're going to press Convoke. Watch my energy bar. My energy shoots up. It shoots up and it shoots up again. You saw when I used Ferocious Bite a couple times there in that window. Because of Convoke synergizing with Soul of the Forest, it actually gives me energy back per combo point spent. When Convoke casts Ferocious Bite, it casts it as if it was spending 5 combo points, which is really good for Soul of the Forest. It's also really good for Berserk, Heart of the Lion, and Frenzy. So Berserk here says every combo point ability spent reduces the cooldown on Berserk by 0.5 seconds, okay? So when I press Ferocious Bite, it's going to spend 5 combo points. That's going to reduce the cooldown of my Berserk by 2.5 seconds. So that's amazing. You're getting free cooldown reduction on Berserk. You're also getting free damage from Berserk as long as you have Berserk up, because your Berserk, your combo point generating abilities will bleed enemies. So Convoke actually has like a ton of extra synergy with your other talents, and whenever you press it, you're getting energy back, you're getting free Ferocious Bite cleave damage, you're getting free cooldown reduction on your Berserk, and you're getting free bleed damage from Berserk, and you're also getting free Tiger's Fury extension, because every combo point, every finishing move that you use extends the duration of Tiger's Frenzy. So there's actually a lot of great reasons to take Convoke. I think most of the high-end Feral players will be taking Incarn, and let me talk about why Incarn is good. The main reason is because it takes your Berserk from a 20-second cooldown, a 20-second duration, to a 30-second duration. That's huge. And it reduces the energy cost of all your cat abilities by 20%, which is really good. And the biggest thing here is at the very bottom of the tooltip. It says Rake and Shred deal damage as though you were stealthed. That's so important. Why? Because Shred, if you look at the tooltip, says it does 60% increased damage and has double the chance to critically strike when you are stealthed. Let me just go over here. While stealthed, Shred deals 60% more damage, has double the chance to critically strike. So that means during Berserk, or in this case Incarn, not Berserk, sorry, just Incarn. If you have regular Berserk, you don't get this bonus. It's only with Incarn. It acts as though you were stealth. So your Shred now is doing 60% more damage, double the crit, and your Rake is doing 60% more damage as well, and it will stun the target for 4 seconds. I don't know if the actual stun goes through, but it does 60% more damage. That's the main thing. And your Shred does 60% more damage and has double the crit chance. So, that's really the biggest value of Incarn. It gives you 10 more seconds on Berserk, which is really good because you're getting the Berserk bleed that is continuing to go during that time, and you're getting big cooldown reduction because during Berserk, your combo point generating abilities will generate more combo points. So you're just going like builder, spender, builder, spender, builder, spender. Whereas like outside of your outside of your Berserk window, you're doing a lot of extra builders before you can use that spender. So that's the trade-off there. Both of these cooldowns have synergies with the other talents. I think Convoke has a few more synergies, actually, and it's on a 1-minute cooldown. Incarn is a 3-minute cooldown, but again, we're getting the cooldown reduction down because of Heart of the Lion. You're probably, on average, you're probably turning a 3-minute Incarn into a 2-minute Incarn because of Heart of the Lion, on average, okay? So just understand that there's a big difference between the two of these. If you take the extra thing here as well, your melee attacks have a chance to activate Incarn. If you're just starting as a Feral Druid, I would say go Convoke. It's just more fun, and it actually has lots of different synergies for you. It's going to help to shore up some of the weaknesses of your build, potentially, and make you do lots of damage. So I would just take Convoke. It's really fun, but realistically, as you get better at Feral, you're going to want to transition into Incarn. It's going to be better for you, okay? Now, the third thing I want to say before I get into the rotations really quickly is that Bloodtalons versus non-Bloodtalons. This has been, this is like the most intimidating part of Feral Druid for most people when they're first getting into it. And This basically says that when you use 3 different combo point generating abilities within 4 seconds, you get more damage on your Rip and Ferocious Bite, which is really cool. What does that mean? It means you have to press Rake and Thrash and Brutal Slash or Shred. So those are your 4 generators, okay? So you have to do 3 different generators. You have to go like Brutal Slash into Thrash into Rake or something, and then you'll get this Bloodtalons buff. The thing is, you have to continuously do that over and over and over and over again. If you decide to press Brutal Slash twice in a row into a Thrash, into a finisher, you're not going to get a damage bonus. If you decide to press Rake twice into a Thrash, or Rake into Brutal Slash, into Rake, into a finisher, you're not getting the bonus. So here's what I want to say to you guys. Just play with Lion Strength. Instead of getting 25% more damage on your Ferocious Bites and your Rips, you're going to get 15% more damage on Ferocious. You're only losing 10% of your damage there. And you don't have to worry about pressing the 3 abilities in the correct sequence. You don't have to worry about it at all. So, again, as you get better at Feral Druid, you're probably going to want to transition into Bloodtalons later. But realistically, it's not that big of a difference. Just go Lion Strength for now. Okay? That's what I want to say about that. Now, let's look at the actual rotation. What are your priorities here? Okay? Number 1, you want to keep your 3 bleeds going. That's Thrash, that's Rake, and that's Rip through Primal Wrath. Okay? You're going to press Thrash, and you're going to press Rake, and then you're going to go Primal Wrath for your Rip. Those are your 3 bleeds. Rip, Thrash, Rake. You're getting an extra bleed because of Tear, because we took an extra talent, but don't worry about that. You want to go Thrash, Rake, and your Primal Wrath will give you your Rip. Okay? Keep these 3 bleeds going all the time. This is a big, big priority. Okay? Basically, every 10 seconds, you need to refresh your dots. That's on average, every 10 seconds. Thrash lasts for 11 seconds, Rake lasts for 12 seconds, and Primal Wrath lasts for 9 seconds if you get a 5-point finisher there. So every 10 seconds or so, you need to refresh your dots. Now, Primal Wrath, you're going to be refreshing all the time on AoE. If you have 2 or more targets, you're going to be pressing Primal Wrath all the time, okay? You're only ever going to press Ferocious Bite in AoE when you get a proc from Apex Predators, which you'll get a lot of them, so get ready for that. Okay, priority number 1, keep your 3 dots going, okay? Very important. On the pull, you want to be in stealth, because it makes your Rake deal 60% more damage and stun. Also, our Rake is going to apply to an additional target. Okay, remember that? Here's what you're going to do. On pull, you want to press Tiger's Fury right off the bat to get the damage in. We don't care about the energy right off the bat. We just want the 15% more damage. Okay? Then you're going to go Rake out of stealth. I'm going to go really slow right now. I'm going to show you this really slow. Okay? So we go Tiger's Fury into Rake, Rake, into another Rake, into a Thrash, into a final Rake to get our, and then we go into our Primal Wrath. Okay? Then you can press Feral Frenzy into another Primal Wrath. If you get a free proc on Ferocious Bite, you're going to press it. Then we're going to go Convoke with Berserk. So go Berserk into Convoke. Then you're off to the races. Okay? And you're in your Convoke. So you're going to be pressing Brutal Slash into Primal Wrath, most likely. Then you want to refresh a couple Rakes. Once you get to 5 combo points, you press it. Go Brutal Slash into Primal Wrath. Brutal Slash into Primal Wrath. And then you got to refresh your Thrash. I got a free proc on Ferocious Bite. Let's press it. Then we go Primal Wrath. You're always using Primal Wrath as your finisher. Okay, refresh Thrash. Refresh a couple Rakes here. And then we go Primal. Okay, refresh a couple more of my Rakes. I got a free Thrash. Gonna press it. I got a free Feral Frenzy. We're going to go on that. Okay. Always press your Ferocious Bite if you get a proc. Do not let it hang in the balance. There, I got it right now. Press it. Press it right away. So that's one of the things you have to react to. You have to be reactive in this build all the time. Make sure you're reacting to the Primal, to the Ferocious Bites as they come up. And then you're kind of tab targeting through enemies to get those Rakes. That's the other thing. You want to tab target through to get multiple Rakes going. Keeping those Rakes alive is really important. Okay, let's run out again. I'm just going to do the actual rotation in full speed. So remember, I did it very slowly there, so it was kind of hard to tell what was going on. But remember, you want to get your 3 dots rolling. Thrash, Rake, and Primal Wrath as quickly as you can with a Tiger's Fury. Then you want to sneak in a Feral Frenzy and do a Primal Wrath, and then you want to go... I would actually go Berserk right away. I did Berserk too late there. I'm going to show you when to do Berserk. You want to basically do a Berserk right away, because again, if you get Berserk rolling, you're going to get the cooldown reduction rolling on Berserk, and you're going to get the bleed going from Berserk. So before you press Feral Frenzy, press Berserk. I'm going to show you what that looks like right away. I was just doing it slowly because it's hard to sort of show you guys what's going on. So start in stealth. You're going to go Tiger's Fury into Rake into Berserk right away. Okay? Then you're going to get one finisher off, get one Primal Wrath off, then go Feral Frenzy into a Primal Wrath, then go to Convoke. Okay? So here we go. Ready? We're going to go Tiger's Fury, Rake, Thrash, Brutal Slash. Then okay, we're Convoking. Then I do my Feral Frenzy. We're not Convoking yet. We're Convoking now. I'm Berserking. I'm sorry. Now I'm Convoking. Primal Wrath. Now we're in our Berserk window. Okay? Thrash, Rake, Primal Wrath. I got a proc. I'm going to press Ferocious Bite. Brutal Slash. For Primal. Brutal. Primal. Brutal into Primal. Refresh my Thrash. Refresh a couple Rakes. I got a proc. Let's spend it. Refresh another Rake. Back into Tiger's Fury. In Mythic Plus, your Tiger's Fury is going to be resetting all the time as enemies die. So just get ready to like press it all the time. Okay, I got a free proc. Oh, I'm tab targeting like an idiot. Okay, there we go. Refresh my Thrash. Refresh my Rakes. I got a proc. Brutal Slash into Primal. My Feral Frenzy's back. Press it. Into Primal. Okay, Thrash. Rake. Rake. Into another Primal. Brutal Slash. I got a proc. Press my proc. Okay, another Thrash. Tiger's Fury is back. Now my Convoke is coming. Get ready for Convoke. Here we go. Primal into Convoke. Look at how fast my Berserk is coming back. Okay, very cool. Thrash. Rake. Primal. I got a free proc. Press it. Shred. Actually, shouldn't press Shred because I'm not using Incarn. Don't press Shred on this build. Okay. Brutal Slash. I got a proc on Ferocious. Thrash again. Rake. Let's refresh some of those Rakes. Get those Rakes refreshed. I got another proc on my Ferocious Bite. It's insane how many procs you get. We're back into Berserk. Let's go. Berserk time. Go, 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 go. Feral Frenzy's back. Press it. Into Primal. This. Refresh my Thrash. It fell off there. That's not good. Refresh my Rakes. Spread those Rakes around. Brutal Slash. Oops, I don't know why I pressed that. That was a mistake. Okay, I got a free proc. Into my Primal. Another Primal. Here we go. Primal again. Rake. A couple Rakes. Spread them around. Brutal Slash is back. Ferocious Bite. Don't forget to press your Ferocious Bite when you get that proc. Don't let it hang there. You want to press it. Yeah, I got a proc right now. Press it. There, we're back into Convoke. Press Convoke. And that's going to be the end of our little thing there, okay? That's it. So, hopefully I didn't yell at you too much there, and you guys understand how that's going. But I just wanted to make sure I showed you there. So, again, RIP is going to be really, really high. Why? Because we're pressing Primal Wrath all the time, okay? That's why our RIP is going to be so high. Remember, you have a couple talents that are going to help you there. It's always good to keep pressing Primal Wrath because Primal Wrath will consume up to 4 seconds of the RIP damage to do 60% additional damage instantly. So that's why we're using Primal Wrath as our finisher all the time, and we're only ever pressing Ferocious Bite when we get the proc, okay? Very important to remember that. Brutal Slash, big damage. Tear Open Wounds, that's what I just talked about. Ferocious Bite did lots of damage because those are just the free procs that we pressed. We pressed it almost 20 times for free. And that also gave us rampant ferocity damage. So lots of big AoE damage there. This is so much better feeling than the way that Pharaoh Druid used to feel in Shadowlands. It felt so much worse than it does right here. This is Frenzied Assault is the dot that we get from our Berserk Frenzy, okay? So during Berserk, your combo point generating abilities will bleed the target. That's what that is right there. Primal Wrath, this is the initial Primal Wrath here. So our Tear Open Wounds is actually just doing more damage than the upfront hit of Primal Wrath, which is totally fine. There's our extra dot from Tear and Feral Frenzy down there. Feral Frenzy is only really here to generate combo points really, really quickly during your Berserk window, which helps you cool it down, helps you get you that bleed. And it's really there as a also as a big single target tool. When you're in Mythic Plus, you want to be able to do the single target damage as best you possibly can. And Feral Frenzy helps you generate combo points in AoE and helps you do lots of single target damage as well. So that's how it works with Convoke, guys. And that's the rotation I just want to show you. Let me show you what it looks like with Incarn really, really quickly. and then I'm going to hop off here. Again, I think if you're just starting out as a Feral Druid, Convoke is a perfectly good button for you to take. But now we're going to take Incarn. It's the exact same rotation as it was before, but we're going to be substituting in Shred as a filler now. Because remember, Shred deals 60% more damage and has double the critical strike chance. So it's really, really a good button to press in AoE. So we're going to start out with Tiger's Fury into our Rake, and then we're going to go into our Incarn right away, okay? Here we go. Tiger's Fury, Rake, Incarn. A couple Rakes to spread it around. We go here, Feral Frenzy. There we go. Then I'm going to Shred a couple times. I'm going to Shred, and I'm going to Brutal Slash. Okay? There we go. Refresh my Thrash. I don't know why that went off. I'm sorry. We're still doing the same finishers. We're pressing Primal Wrath as our finisher, primarily. Okay? You want to make sure you consume your procs that you're getting. You can see we're doing a little bit more damage already because Incarn lasts so long. Okay. Couple more Rakes. Spread our Rakes around. Got a proc. Let's spend it. Got another proc. Let's spend it right away. Don't... Oh, I messed up right there. Don't ever forget to spend those procs, okay? Now, we're outside of Incarn, but we have a chance, actually, with one of our capstone talents. We have a chance to proc Incarn all the time, which is super cool. I'll try and keep a lookout for it. Rampant Ferocity. Okay. Fill with our Thrash, and there we go. We got another proc there. Okay, we're a little low on energy here, but that's okay. We're getting procs. There we go. We got another proc. Now, you're really hoping for Incarn to trigger here. I feel like the chance on it is pretty low, which I'm kind of sad about. But that's okay. We got our spread your Rakes around. I'm just looking at the top of my screen to see if I get an Incarn proc, and I have not got one yet. So, again, the chance on it is quite low, which is why I'm not a huge... There, I got it right now. I'm in Incarn right now. So, what you'd want to do if you did this build is find yourself a weak aura that shows when the proc happens. But we have Incarn back. Let's do it. Regular Incarn is back. Let's go. So remember, we want to press Shred more often than we normally do. Okay? Because it does so much damage during Incarn. You want to press Brutal Slash as well because it's just a good button. But Shred is so, so good, man. And you're generating so many combo points during Incarn. It's crazy. Thrash is falling off. Refresh it. Keep those Rakes going. When you're doing this build, I find filling in with a Rake is a lot harder because you're trying to fill in with a Shred. Because Shred gives you so much. So that's that. That's the damage right there. So the only slight difference there is that you want to fill with a lot more Shreds than you normally would because it does a lot of extra damage. But it's basically a similar build. You're going to have a bigger Frenzied Assault dot because our Incarn is going to be up for 10 seconds longer than Berserk was, okay? So just remember that. If you're taking this, your Rake and your Shred will do extra damage as though they were stealth. Very, very good. So you can fill with Rake and you can fill with Shred, whichever one you want to fill with. And then Ashman's Guidance says that your melee attacks will have a chance to give you Incarn, basically, for 6 seconds. But I feel like the proc rate on it is kind of low. But again, this is probably something that you're going to want to look at as you play Feral Druid. As you get better at Feral Druid, figure out kind of what you want to do with that. Basically, guys, if you're just starting out with Feral Druid, just take Convoke. It's so much simpler. It does a lot of extra damage, and it has a whole bunch of synergies with these other talents. So that's the basic breakdown there, guys. That's the rotation for Feral Druid. It can be a little bit crazy once all the abilities are proccing all at the same time. Just remember some fundamentals here, okay? Number one, keep all 3 of your dots rolling at all times. Thrash, Rake, and then Primal Wrath will keep your rip going. Keeps your rips going on everybody, okay? Keep your 3 dots up all the time. That's your priority. When you're starting a fight, make sure you have Tiger's Fury rolling at the very beginning, okay? Because remember, we're extending the duration of Tiger's Fury with all of our combo points that we're spending, okay? So you want to get that 15% more damage buff rolling on Tiger's Fury. As enemies start dying, you'll get the refresh on it, and you can use it again and again and again. Make sure you use Feral Frenzy. Make sure you use Convoke. Get those abilities on cooldown because you want them to... You want to get their damage out there and get them on cooldown to get them back. But the biggest thing to remember if you're starting out, keep your dots rolling. If you keep your dots rolling, everything else will just be gravy. You'll be getting all those procs on Ferocious Bite. Remember to press your Ferocious Bite procs that you get from Apex Predators right away, because you might get another proc right away, and you don't want to waste one of those, okay? So that's kind of how it works. That's the rotation, and that's the video for it. I am going to do a single target rotation in another video, because this video is already too long. So stay tuned for a single target rotation for Pharaoh Druid, but this is just to help you guys get your foot in the door. Remember, I'm not a master at this, but this is going to help you guys get a basic understanding of what to do as a Pharaoh Druid. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.